on A side unless Vario is available. But I'd actually say really take the power pick, right? You're on A side, you're already at a disadvantage from that point of view. Just take it, right? I mean, if you're going to give it up, and what this does allow is for Vision to take another power pick, since there's really no supports taken at this point. The Sky Band coming in. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, well, all the supports are going to be available except for Grace, unless they decide to ban another one here for Nova. But I don't think that's going to be the call for Nova. I think you want to make sure you take another one of the really strong heroes off the board. Although they know that the Rona is likely to be in the lane, so they don't have to worry about that Ringo pick. They can easily grab themselves a Ringo. And I think the Ringo with a Crystal Blackfeather is actually a very strong duo. And so they see a lot of thought being put into this one. I mean, maybe they do go for a captain ban, and it is actually going to be that Churnwalker that gets taken off the board. And the more I thought about it, the more a captain ban actually made sense to me, just because, again, they know that they can grab that Ringo. They don't have to worry about Ringo getting stolen away. And you look, they already have their jungler. So, they don't have to worry about a jungler power pick getting taken by the side of Vision Gaming, because they have theirs squared away already.
Yeah, and when you talk about captains that you would want to ban, Churnwalker does come to mind as that one captain that's been very problematic. And with Grace and Churnwalker banned, you have to imagine we'll probably see Lyra and Arden split between these two teams. You see Vision Gaming are going to be the ones picking up Arden. Arden, he pairs really well with Rona, Tasty. We've seen him picked almost every single time when he's available, and it's a Rona. So not a huge surprise to see Vision pick him up. Plus, Arden's been kind of that staple for a lot of these teams. He's really easy mechanically. I think teams just love. Even now, even with the nerf to the Double Gauntlet actually, I would say, is even more potent, because now the timing isn't so close together, and so you can actually force a block and then use another gauntlet right after. And so we've seen that echo with the gauntlet still being very effective.
Yeah, you don't have that Venn diagram of gauntlets, but you still have an incredible amount of usefulness. It's just a different way of using the double gauntlet now. For the side of Nova, I would expect, like I said, the Lyra to come out, just because those are kind of the top 4 captains in the game that we see, and you need something that can deal with this Rona a little bit, between the mobility and, of course, the healing, the durability and sustain that Lyra provides. That's really kind of one of your best bets when trying to deal with something like the weapon Rona. And now as we look towards the lane, like I said, I think the Ringo would be a safe pick for them here.
Teams have been loving the Vox, though. Vox has been as popular as Ringo, and not entirely due to him being banned. We've seen him actually make it through the draft once or twice, because the Vox was a more priority pick for some teams.
Yeah, Vox is still a strong pick into the Rona. We've seen that be an option, but I just feel like with the Rona, you can actually just win trades with her in the lane. But with the Vox, it's a little bit more, a little bit more risky. But obviously, Nova, they want to play for that late game. When it comes to the team fights, the Vox will do better in a late game team fight against a Rona than the Ringo would. And then there's an early game pressure pick for the side of Vision, taking that Kashka. Going to try and just dominate this early jungle. Obviously, the Crystal Blackfeather, we know it's very strong once you get to the mid to late game, but it's not the quickest clear speed in the early game, and that's what Vision is going to try and capitalize on, is that fast clear speed that they're going to have with the Kashka.
Yeah, I agree. You got to capitalize on it quick and early, and the Rona scales well. Does take maybe a couple minutes. The sustain is really where Rona does not have her full strength until level 6. But again, she still is going to be doing a ton of damage. I really do like Nova's draft for the late game, so we'll have to see. Vision really need to start coming out shooting as fast as they can, because as we get later and later into the game, that Vox Blackfeather combo is going to be really hard to take down, and that sustain that comes out of Vox and Blackfeather as you get later in that game also becomes hard to take out.
Yeah, so a lot of sustain and a lot of damage for both of these teams. Once we get into that mid game, that's going to be really crucial as we load onto the fold. Obviously, the early game, you want to say there's a bit of an advantage to the side of Vision Gaming with this Kashka. Once we get to the mid game, that's when this Blackfeather is going to come online. That's when this Rona is going to start coming online, and things are going to come to a head. So whoever wins the mid game is a team that is going to be in prime position to close this one out.
Well, we have loaded into the game, ladies and gentlemen. and looking to jump in and see how this all comes together. As we've seen, the more traditional back jungle take between the two carries is going to take place between both teams. And captains just move in. There's really no big surprises here early. Everything that we kind of expected is going to take place. It is that Crystal Blackfeather. So, you know, again, weapon Vox is pretty common. We only see that Crystal Vox, Tasty, when there is a very slow centered fight, like a Saw or a Finn, where you kind of can take advantage of the Crystal Vox, but here it is going to be that weapon. And Crystal Blackfeather, he is very, very scary. That execution damage he can get when he gets onto target. 1v1, his trades are hard to match.
Yeah, and I really like what Nova did here. They knew that they did not have the stronger level 1, level 2 team fight, and so they just clear their jungle, immediately rotate to lane, and have Lone Delphi go back to base to make his first purchases. They don't even try and contest that Elder Treant in the middle of the map, because they knew that if they tried to start a fight there, they very likely would not have come out on top. So, you know, just taking and kind of minimizing your losses in a situation like that, giving up that Treant, and just getting started on your second rotation a little bit quicker. And what this does, even though you have the slower clear speed with the Blackfeather, it allows you to do what they're doing right now, which is rotate the entire team down here for the second Treant. Whereas Vision, they're not going to have all 3 members. So all of a sudden now Nova, they give up the first Treant, but they put themselves in prime position for the second one, and they secure it.
Yeah, nice job. Good heads up by Nova. And you talk about that decision you have to make. You have to commit to that decision very quickly, very early, about not going for that Treant early, because it can backfire if you don't complete that rotation faster. It is FPG that goes down as Kaz finds the kill.
And that's that early aggression from Kashka that we were talking about before this game even started. She still has a ton of damage, and once they recognized that they weren't going to get that second Treant, Kaz just says immediately, okay, we're just going to rotate up, go aggressive, and they're going to continue this, although Delphi does get himself the Treant, so he should be okay.
Yeah, once Kaz recognized Delphi securing that kill, he has to get out of there, because that Treant, the heal is substantial, and plus Blackfeather at level 3, he's going to be able to get that on-point barrier, so facing off 1v1 against Akashka isn't a huge problem.
The other big thing is that Delphi has gone back to shop twice now, whereas Kaz is still only has the 2 crystal bits, so the damage numbers just are in favor of Delphi at that point in a straight one-on-one trade. So again, great job by Nova to recognize that they don't have the superior early game composition, and just using their rotations to work around that and keep themselves, you know, very much in this game despite giving up that first blood.
And this is going to be interesting for Vision, how they're going to play these fights, because you have 2 heroes that do like to jump in, but Rona does like to jump in and then kind of stay in a certain position, like lock on the hero, use that red mist, where Kashka is more of going to be playing the assassin type. So if you're the side of Vision, you kind of have to just dodge out the first early aggression, and then look, you know, make sure you're not in the way of the red mist, and then just focus that Rona down or focus the Kashka down. So the game strategy for Nova here, I think, is a kind of a challenging one, just because you have to be careful about not overcommitting to your position early on when Rona and Kashka are both looking for that burst.
Yeah, and the other really interesting kind of matchup that we're going to end up seeing is Nova. They have a lot more poke. They want to try and sit back a little bit, do some damage on the outside, and then jump in, whereas you don't have that on the side of Vision. They are go in, get your damage, maybe then retreat out for a little bit, but they have to go into melee in order to get that damage out.
We did see a little bit of damage dealt to the first turret from Nova, as Vision did a good job pushing that wave up, but it's not a huge amount, not enough to be too worried. Every little bit helps, and this could be a sign, just depending on how often PvP is going to be up in this lane, to continue pushing that lane pressure into the face of Nova's turret. Like you mentioned earlier, this is Nova playing a more passive game, and I think that's their win condition. So what they continually need to do to just not allow that Rona to go, because it really, you have to value kills to some extent. While kills do not, you know, replace objectives and farm, if you continually giving over both kills and objectives and farm, you allow a very deadly composition to just snowball.
Oh, there's that big burst coming in from Vision. Aftershock is completed for both of these junglers.
Yeah, you're
And they're
seeing it
trying to
work.
take advantage. A lot of damage getting traded now back onto the side of Vision, and that's going to be the one sort of weakness that this Koshka can't have, is if you don't get yourself a kill or get yourself the objective that you're going for right away, you take a ton of damage in return. They're trying to find this kill, but it
Early
ends up
red
being
missed.
Kaz, the one that has to run away from this trade.
Yeah, he was very low. PvP's at half health, so he's got to be careful to rotate out. Nova doing a good job balancing the damage between both those bursty heroes. PvP already at level 6. That red mist very early, committing to that other turret. You got to be careful. We've seen Ronas do that, and it's a very slippery slope. When you red mist on their turret, you don't necessarily have the ability, or you're kind of like stalled for just a second, so you're going to be taking extra turret aggro. There's no stun, but a Lyra Bulwark could slow Rona enough to keep him kind of trapped there. We'll see how aggressive PvP is under turret like that in the future fights.
Yeah, I think the side of Vision, they've done a good job of just continuously farming up, but like I said, Nova has done a fantastic job of keeping things fairly even. You see, they have slipped down to about a 1k gold deficit. A lot of that is purely just out of the CS difference in the lane. FBG has just not been able to get as many last hits as PvP Warrior has up here. And now with a full team rotation, this looks like Vision wants to just take this turret down, maybe look for a fight afterwards. A great gauntlet's going to get thrown. That's going to allow the turret to fall.
Good block
to
follow.
Look for more damage. Kaz is going to use the portal to get on out. Vision Gaming using that passageway to their own advantage. And now Delphi, he just uses that Rose offensive to get a lot of damage onto Kaz and PvP Warrior. But turret taken and no lives traded in the process. But now this is where things get dicey. Can they hold off from Nova just returning fire?
They have to be careful. They don't want to give up a kill in the process. Both PvP and Kaz are low. As Nova continue to siege, they're going to have to wait for another minion wave, Tasty. But Nova giving up an objective early, a lot of that had to do with just the lane rotations. They were definitely rotating down the jungle far more frequently.
Oh, but there's another fight breaking out. PvP Warrior, though, is low. He's got that red mist spinning, getting that fortified health, but it is Kaz, the first one to fall here. And with a minion coming in and another minion wave right behind, Nova still wants to try and stick to this turret, but Delphi is chasing Shaded Talent through the jungle. Will be able to find that kill eventually and can now rotate up to lane where he can help to secure this turret. So all in all, this actually ends up going in favor of Nova as they trade turrets, but Nova gets a couple of kills out of the situation as well.
Yeah, and I think that you got to give Vision some credit for continuing to put that pressure in the lane, knowing that Nova was doing more of the jungle rotations, backing far more often, and sacrificing that lane just a little bit. So at least Vision punished, but Nova were very quick to respond, and you have to imagine for the rest of this game, Nova's going to be looking to be a little bit more aggressive as you see those tier 3 items starting to get built. FPG already at 2.
Yeah, the biggest concern I'm going to have right now is going to be Kaz on this Koshka. He did, okay in the early game. Hasn't fallen behind or anything like that, but if you don't get a lead on Koshka, a lot of the times it feels like you are behind regardless. So the fact that he hasn't really been able to have this massive impact, hasn't been able to find numerous kills, hasn't been able to steal away jungle camps, I think is going to cause problems for Vision Gaming, because now as we get to the late game, or towards the mid game right now, but as we get into the late game, this Koshka is going to fall off, and this Black Feather is just going to continue to ramp up. So Kaz definitely could be a cause for concern for Vision Gaming here in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Koshka thrive in the mid game. It really is the late game where it becomes more of a problem. But if you don't take advantage of the early mid game and those power spikes, you're almost guaranteed to go to the late game, and that's the problem. Is you're kind of now looking at just an hourglass ticket away where, all right, you're not ending it, now it's going to go the other way. I will say it's kind of scary for Koshka already that Black Feather's been winning the trades against Koshka, and a lot of it has to do with Lone Delphi just being absolutely stellar, hitting almost every single on point, and once he's got that on point, Koshka has to respect that barrier.
Yeah, and obviously Delphi's doing a fantastic job, but all of Nova, with their rotations in the early game, were doing such a good job of just making sure that Delphi did not fall behind. Here comes the Gauntlet's going to try and split the team up as the Gold Miner is going very low. Team's still both focusing on that. It will go over to the side of Nova, and now the team fight is on, but it is the kill onto Vox. A nice Rose offensive from Delphi to block the Koshka ultimate, but now Eco Will he be able to get out of there? Not with both carries chasing him down. Now Shaded Talent just keeping Delphi busy for the ace. A beautiful fight for Vision Gaming. Even though they did not get the gold miner, I don't think they're going to be too upset when they take a sentry, a turret, and the entire backs of this jungle.
Yeah, Nova, a huge mistake there by giving up the ace. Low Delphi did need to give it up. I know he wanted to get that trade. He didn't want to give up the farm, but once they had pushed up and killed Lyra, they were able to rotate from either side and sandwich him, and he was in a really bad spot. And I think he realized that he did get the CS, but again, giving up the kill in that case, I don't think is worth it because of how potent that ace buff was on their minions in the wave, in the lane. So a big, big win for Vision Gaming here. And this mid game, we talked about, Koshka still thrives in the mid game. Still should be able to be a major harasser, a damage dealer. Again, but it's this late game that's going to be approaching in the next 6 to 7 minutes that if Nova can survive and outlast Vision for the next couple of minutes, they should be okay.
And one of the things we haven't really touched on is PvP Warrior. Every single time we see him on this Rona, he always just seems to put on a stellar performance. Right now, he doesn't have the kills to go along with his score, but to be sitting at, constantly, he has been ahead in CS against a ranged hero like Vox. He has been able to go this entire game thus far without a death in 12 minutes in on a melee hero. Obviously, Rona is one of the more durable heroes in the game, but it's still very smart positioning in these team fights. As Vision Gaming, they just walk in, take a Crystal Sentry for free, and walk out of the Nova jungle. That is the type of play that you just simply cannot allow to happen if you're the side of Nova.
They're going to look to get this gold mine secured uncontested as well. So that is a kind of a problem for Nova, giving over some of these big objectives to Vision so quickly. Back to back. It's going to be a pretty powerful spike we see coming out of them.
Vision Gaming now with the third tier 3 items getting finished for just about everyone. You see Shaded Talent has gone for the Atlas Pauldrons and the Echo as his second and third items. Really wanting to be able to drop those double gauntlets, wanting to try and deny the damage that can come out from FPG. And you have to wonder, are they going to just focus down FPG, or do they want to focus on Delphi? I think the smarter play for them is to try and just take Delphi out of the fights as early as you can, because he has that durability of being a Black Feather and the extra, not just sustain, but the ability to prevent like stuns from coming through and things like that. A very ramp up type fighter, both of them are. But again, this Crystal Sentry, that's eliminated now at the 13.5-minute mark. Very quick moves from Vision, and now they're going to turn around and look for this fight. There's the gauntlet going down. It's not really going to get any stuns, but it will trap the team in for a fair bit of time. Here comes the second one. This one is going to look to escape. There's going to be that Rose offensive right on through, but the other two members cannot pass. Eco I guess, didn't feel like using the Crucible there if they wanted to try and chase this one out, but they do just give up that chase in the end. So once more, the Crystal Sentry getting taken. This time it did cost them a few cooldowns, but only costing you cooldowns is a trade that you'll take every day.
Yeah, it is going to allow Nova to push up to this next lane, and they might be able to even fight this turret and actually take it, because you are talking about a weaker Vision as they are going in again. He's caught out.
Kaz tried to flank from the backside, but no one from his team is there to help. It bought time for PvP Warrior to clear out the wave, but just kind of a questionable decision for Kaz to go in at that exact moment. Like I said, it did buy the time to clear out the wave. It means that they won't be getting any pressure on this turret. So I guess in that sense, it was worth it. But they are going to be very likely giving up this gold miner. Although without Lone Delphi there, this gold miner is not going down particularly quickly. FPG relying so much on the ramp up from the breaking point, that he doesn't really do that much damage to the neutral objectives.
I will say, yeah, you don't want to take a Rona. You don't want to take a gold miner with Rona standing right next to it, because Rona is really good at securing those objectives and last hitting. Got that extra attack speed perk. And Vision now, they're rotated over. They're in a good spot. They've got control over their side of the jungle. I'd say, really, it's anybody's game, but Vision clearly have what they take to like win these fights. We did see that fight, of course, going in favor of Nova while after they taking their Crystal Sentry, but Vision just looking possibly just to get that Crystal Sentry. So they've been able to win these fights against Nova when it mattered the most. We'll see if Nova could turn it around.
And it's going to have to turn around quick if it is going to turn around, because with Kraken on the board, games can end very, very fast. So Kaz going to be looking to try and get this flank as they go on in. The Gauntlet actually gets kind of moved out of the way. The second one comes down, and he's going to get a stun onto FPG, and Delphi is so low. She's going to get chased down by the movement speed of this Kashka. A nice block to prevent the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, but I just don't think it's going to matter.
I don't think it
Portal's
is either.
getting used, causing a little bit of mayhem, but FPG will end up falling in the end. Some more Portal shenanigans going on, but Eco cannot escape. That is another ace for Vision Gaming, and they turn their attention to the Kraken.
That is a huge win for Vision, and one that is, if you're Nova, you've got to be worried here in this matchup. You're at 16 minutes, you need more time, but with the Kraken pushing down, Vision plays their cards right. They could be cracking open that Sanctuary and pushing in. You see Kashka already. Kaz, he not even going to wait for the Kraken. I think that's the right call. You want to get that wave pushed up. You want to get that turret, that Sanctuary protecting turret down as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they're not going to get a ton of damage out onto that third turret due to the respawns coming through, but it does mean, like you said, that the minions are at least pushed up. They can try and find a little bit stronger of a push this time around, have a few more, I guess just bodies there to help try and strip away the barrier from the turret. But once Kraken gets in there, you got to figure one of these teams should look to pull the trigger. You feel like it has to be Nova. They have to try and find a kill onto Kaz. He's really the only target that they can focus immediately in these fights, but Kaz has been doing a pretty good job of his positioning. Jumps straight onto the back line, looks to get himself out now. The turret has already melted thanks to PvP Warrior and that Kraken.
Yeah, this is really good for Vision. They're able to push in. Nova can't turn their attention onto Vision just yet.
Very nice bulwark there, actually. That denied Vision from being able to get onto this turret. And PvP Warrior, he just took a ton of damage. A great gauntlet to try and get the team split, but PvP Warrior is already down. Great job by FPG to stay on the outside of that gauntlet. Kaz doing what he can to put some distance between him and the team. Now just wants to get a little bit of extra damage onto this turret, doing as much work as he can before he goes down, knowing that he won't be able to get out of here alive. He gets the turret take. And that is just a great play, a great heads-up play by Kaz to understand that he can't get out of there alive, so he just wants to make as much progress towards trying to end this game as possible.
No, that was a really good play. I was a little worried because if one on point had nailed him before he could get to the turret, might have slowed him down enough to prevent him, and then he would have just given up a kill while actually leading Nova into the Kraken. But he did get a nice position. He got to the backside of the turret, away in between the turret, in between Nova and him, and was able to get that turret down very quickly. And now Nova, with an open Sanctuary, with an open Vein Crystal, they are in a really tough spot. At this point, you really have to give a massive throw in the next team fight from Vision to lose this game, because you really have everything still going. You still have that gold lead, and when you look at items, still slightly in favor. One of the things I am seeing is that Echo being picked up by Lyra. That could be very huge in these fights, because a double Bulwark or a double Sigil to heal you up could be all the difference.
Yeah, it's actually a very massive item for a Lyra, even though it doesn't sound like it. But because of the way that Echo has been changed over the last few updates, the fact that it has a shorter cooldown when you use it on a shorter cooldown ability means you can get a couple of Echoes off in a fight if you use it on an ability that has a short enough cooldown to start with. And like you said, double Bulwark. Everyone on the side of Vision Gaming relies so much on gap closers and movement speed that a Bulwark just shuts down this team very, very hard. And if you can have an extended duration on the Bulwark, or if you get that double heal off, like you mentioned, Dragonborn, that can be game-changing. But it looks like they're going in right onto Delphi, who takes a ton of damage up front. That's going to be a portal coming through. Eco getting the team out of dodge for now. A lot of burst damage. There's another gauntlet going down that's going to be blocked out nicely. Eco, though, he could be the target if they can take down this Lyra. But Kaz is actually going to fall. He was not prepared for that level of damage to return onto him. And now all of a sudden, Vision Gaming, they are in some trouble, as PvP Warrior is just going to try and lead them as far away as he can before he falls. They do prevent the ace, but that was not what Vision Gaming were looking for.
That is huge, and that bulwark was very impactful. We saw that Echo being used right away, and we said it that is going to make a huge difference in these fights, and already it is. Nova could be looking to get back into this matchup. They're playing on a knife's edge, Tasty. They have to be perfect. One bad fight, even if they don't get aced, could spell doom.
Yeah, that was actually great play by Eco. Using that portal, the positioning on the portal got his team completely out of harm's way. That's one of the things about this side from Vision. When they jump on you, saw how much damage Delphi took in a quick burst. But because of that portal, the team was able to get out of harm's way and get themselves into a position where they could retaliate instead. And, Delphi got into a safe position, used those on points to poke a little bit, and built up those heartthrob stacks so that when Kaz jumped in again, they were ready to just blow him up. And now it is Nova that has the Kraken pushing in their favor.
Well, this is going to be a very important point for Nova. They don't need to get aced. They cannot get aced. It doesn't matter how much the Kraken does. If they get aced, there's likely going to be enough time for Vision to turn it around and base race.
Oh, easily.
So
easily enough time with an exposed crystal. And the Kraken, I like what they're doing here. They're just focusing on the Kraken. They know that they don't need to necessarily go diving and overextending looking for a fight. So they just focus on the Kraken. The turret goes down. Now the fight is on. PvP Warrior, he's in some trouble. It's the fountain used very early by Shaded Talent, whereas not much has been used on the side of Nova. They go right back on in, take down this Kraken. Nova recognized that the Kraken is low. They don't want to stick around for a follow-up fight this close to the Vision Gaming base, and they back out. And all of a sudden, Dragonborn, we have a very close game on our hands again.
Absolutely.
The party brush. No, the party brush gets broken up. FPG walking out a little bit too early. I think if they had stayed in that brush, they may have been able to set something up, but that is a very risky call to make, because if it gets flared out, all of a sudden you're kind of caught in a bad position. So Nova, just go ahead, take out this Crystal Sentry on their way out of the base.
It might have been caught, though, in the middle. Actually, it's Rhoda looking to go to
Rona's
the crystal.
Looking to end. Rona's going straight down. No, is she going to try and cut them off? There's a lot of options here. FPG is getting his recall on, so he's going to be there to be able to try and stop Rona as she jumps over the wall. It's just a 2-on-2 in the middle of the map.
Enough.
And down in the base, it's FPG trying to stop Rona. No. Doesn't have the damage, and this crystal is getting destroyed, although there's a lot of damage. The ramp up is starting to happen, but just not quick enough, and PvP Warrior is able to end this game.
Unbelievable job by PvP. Huge heads up, because they were starting to lose these team fights, Tasty. And it was such a matter of time if you did not do something quickly. I love what he did. He just needed to get there. Just one player. Vox is not going to do the damage needed. You need Blackfeather really there. You needed the burst, at least 2 people, and it just was not enough. Vision taking the game from Nova. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely incredible call to end that game. I mean, PvP Warrior, like, to make that call and go in knowing that they just had to stop 2 of those recalls. As long as they prevented 2 members from getting back to base, that was all that they needed.